Hello, world of internet. Welcome to yet another Camera Stuff Live. Hope you're doing splendidly well as usual. So as per normal, just going to wait for more people to join, and then we'll get the presentation started. Hopefully, you're not suffering load shedding at the moment. Mine's going to start in, I think, an hour's time, so we have an hour to do this. But regardless, hope you're all doing well, nonetheless. Okay, just waiting for more people to join, then we can get started. Yeah, so we'll be talking about light stands today. Had a conversation with my fiance. And she said quite rightfully that it's a unsung hero of photographic equipment. So everything is kind of hinges on the quality of the light stand. So if a weak light stand, everything else tends to fall apart with it. Okay, so I think we have enough people. So let's get the presentation started. All right, so we'll be chatting about light stands today. So let's just jump into it, shall we? All right, so firstly, let's talk about some of the important specifications to look out for. So obviously, we need to check what your load capacity is, and that will be marked in the product descriptions. So after weighing up everything that you're using, so that being the lighting unit, the light modifiers, etc., you need to check if that's within the range of your light stand's load capacity. And ideally, you don't want to push it to its maximum limits, should I say. So if your load capacity is 10 kilograms, then you probably want to play around with 9 kilograms or ideally less. Otherwise, you may create stress point on the joints. So rather underplay than overplay. Next thing to look at would be the maximum height and the minimum height. So ideally, the light stand needs to be somewhat taller than your subject so that you can angle the light down at your subject when necessary to accommodate proper facial lighting. But at the same time, minimum height is also very important to allow your light to go down low enough when necessary. So taller light stands that typically have telescopic designs tend to have more sections to allow for a greater height. But more sections can result in more stress point when extended too high. So again, you want to play within smaller margins as opposed to pushing the light stands to its limits. You really don't want to use your the light stand at full length because it becomes a little bit too flexible then. So for an example, if your light stand is about 240 centimeters, then you want to play around 200 centimeters or 180 centimeters ideally. So again, don't push the light stand to its rated limits. So here's an example of a C stand with an adjustable height. So as mentioned, you can't have a light stand that's too tall or too short, but you have light stands that are too short and don't go down low enough. So depending on what you're doing, what your requirements are, just check the specifications as to what the minimum height is and what the maximum height is. So chances are you need to buy a couple of light stands, one that has a great height to it and one that can be used as a foot stand, for example. So next one. All right, so portability. So as you can see here, steadiness and portability are two competing goals. So portability, yes, is a key factor. Obviously, when traveling, it's ideal to have a lightweight and compact light stand, but these don't do stability very well or robustness. So a bit of compromise is necessary when choosing a traveling light stand. The more compact, the less robust it is, and vice versa. So you need to choose which one is more important to you. So if you want a robust light stand, you need to compromise on compactness. If you want a compact light stand, you need to compromise on robustness. For example, the Hilo 1.7 light meter stand that we sell is a good traveler's light stand, but its design limits its height and stability. A light stand that is only 1.7 meters tall is also not great for taller clients. So as I said, you want a light stand that is ideally taller than your subject. So yes, it's a nice traveling light stand, but very limited in its use. We prefer to use a 1.7 or a 1.5 stand as a foot stand or something for your supplementary lighting. Okay, so a good option would be something like a 240 centimeter or 280 centimeter light stand. If you're looking for something a bit more general use or versatile, yes, these don't fold up very compactly, but overall, they're just better for general photographic use, a bit more stable and a bit more robust. All right, so let's talk about the mounts. So the silver bit on top of a light stand, that's known as a spigot. Now I have variations where the spigot is fixed to the light stand, as you can see on the left-hand side here, and some of them have a removable spigot. Okay, so the size of the spigot, that is known as a 5/8 inch. So if you want to check the product descriptions of your lights, etc., lighting accessories, if they are compatible, most generally are compatible with most light stands, but a 5/8 inch spigot or stud, as it's otherwise known, that will be the more so universal size. And as mentioned, some of these spigots are removable. So with a removable spigot, it will have the two popular thread sizes on either end. So the 3/8 inch and a 1/4 inch. So specifically the tripod lug that you use underneath your camera, that is the 1/4 inch. And these two sizes, screw sizes, are widely compatible with a great deal of different lighting accessories and lighting equipment. It's good to have both options. So with a removable spigot, you can just switch it upside down depending on which thread size you want. Now, also with a removable spigot, it allows you to use other accessories. So you can use extendable arms or other lighting or mounting accessories with it. So with an extendable arm, you can mount it vertically or horizontally. That can do with an option that you see on the right here. So something with a removable spigot, you can insert other things into it as well. All right. Okay, so these joints are known as collars, and it's worthwhile having metal collars. So this is typically where cheaper light stands tend to compromise, where they have plastic collars, and it's the first thing to break, really. So the collar is the thing that joins the shafts, and with strenuous, excessive use of light stands, this is the part that, as I mentioned, tends to break or crack first. So when looking out for a new light stand, make sure, ideally, that the collars here are metal as well. Okay, so another option would be, is the light stand air cushion or spring cushion or not cushion whatsoever? So broadly speaking, you have three options. As mentioned, air cushion light stands or spring cushion light stands or light stands that don't have other choice whatsoever. So let's say one of these collars on your light stand, it breaks, or let's say you loosen the light stand, but you accidentally let go of the light stand. That means the light stand will collapse within itself and create damage to the light or even you, the user. So some light stands have an air cushioning or some light stands have a spring cushioning. So I'm just going to show you a difference as to what the two looks like. So here comes the video. Okay, so the first example, this is the Hilo 2.4 stand, and it has a spring cushion. So you can see if you let go of the shaft, there's a little spring inside that absorbs the impact. The second example, this would be the newer C stand, also spring-loaded. So if you accidentally let go of it, it's a bit violent there, but it is designed to cushion the blow of the impact. Now, the third example, this is the Hilo 2.8 air cushion light stand. Now, this is air cushion, so when you let go, it drops down very, very gradually. So there's an air pocket in the inside, but just allows the shaft just to collapse very gradually. And also, the heavier the object, the more resistance there will be as well. So that's a good option. So air cushioning between the two is better, but spring cushioning is better than no cushioning whatsoever. Okay, so that is just a safety feature, just in case one of the collars break or if you accidentally let go of the light stand when loosening it. Okay, so I think we're pretty close to halfway done. If you have any questions so far, you're welcome to ask them. Okay, just drop them in the comment section as per usual. The reason why we do these lives with you is to interact with you. So I got a first comment from Sven Slabbert. May the fourth be with you. May the fourth be with you as well, Sven. Hope you're still doing well. All right. So if you have any questions so far, please do ask them in the comment section. All right. So I'm just going to trot along. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the variety of different light stands that you get. So the popular option would be known as spreader light stands. They're called as such because when you unfold these light stands, the legs spread out evenly, and typically they will have these levelers to ensure that the legs are spread out evenly. That is also to ensure that your light stand remains vertical at all times. So these are the popular options, tend to be the cheaper options, but you have more expensive and cheaper ones available too. These are great for general use, photography. So for lighting, you can use it with reflectors and whatnot as well. Okay, the smaller versions are known as footstands. So typically not your main, or should I say, a light stand used for your main light. These are great for supplementary lighting or for kicker lights. So if you have a reflector positioned underneath your model, should I say in front of your model, just underneath the jawline, typically create a kick-up reflection. These footstands tend to be quite useful because they have a very, very low minimum height. Also great for product photography and various other things that you can think of where these would be useful. So footstands tend to have a very low minimum height, which can be useful for depending on what you're doing. Okay, boom stands tend to have the horizontal piece attached to it as well. So these are great for overhead lighting, or if you want to get the center column of your light stand out of the way, you can use a boom stand to position a light just above camera. Okay, on to a popular choice, which would be the C stands. Okay, so these are very popular for strenuous, more so heavy-duty use. C stands typically made from chrome-plated steel and are designed to be robust and long-lasting. By design, these can also be grouped together very efficiently for easier travel and storage. And typically, a C stand is comprised out of this is known as a turtle base. So that would be the detachable feet. If it is detachable, that's known as the turtle base. The center column, obviously, a couple of grip heads, and the boom grip arm itself. So some C stands don't have the grip arm, but typically they are sold as a complete kit, including the grip arm with the grip heads as well. So just a close-up of the grip head itself. So these are used to hold lighting accessories like flags and reflectors and other boom arms as well. So these with a knuckle joint or knuckle grip, so that you just loosen. It has a variety of different size holes. So depending on what you want to mount, you just need to find the right size hole and just clamp it in place. Okay, so not all C stands are made equal. Some C stands are just dressed to look like traditional C stands. The collars and joints may be plastic and just spray painted silver to make it look like chrome steel. So just check what you're buying. So as I said, not all C stands are made equal. Some have some plastic bits, but generally speaking, C stands are completely chrome plated steel throughout. Okay, so just be wary of that. Just because it's a C stand doesn't mean that it is a C stand. Now, maybe curious as to why it's called a C stand. Many fables here. So in truth, it's because of the company that invented the C stand. It's called Century Lighting. And typically, the C stands were used to hold 100 centimeter reflector or flags. Some have said that it's called the C stand, the C standing for century, because it has 100 uses, and some say that it will last you 100 years. So just to get that out of the way, that's the reason why it's called the C stand. Okay, so some C stands have what is known as a Rocky Mountain leg. So that's a sliding leg. So one of the legs can go up and down. So these are used on uneven terrain or on staircases. So as you can see, one leg can go up and be positioned on a higher level. to show you that again. So some C-stands have the sliding leg that can go up and down. So if you want to use it on an even terrain or on staircases or even on apple boxes, yeah, some C-stands will have that option for you. All right, so just a couple of tricks and tips when using a C-stand. So ideally, when using a light or anything heavy on the boom arm, you want to make sure that the weight is to the right of the knuckle or handle. So you can see the knuckle or handle there in the center. You want to make sure that the weight is to the right, because this adds tension to the grip itself. So the heavier your object, the more grip there is, essentially. Now, if you place it to the left, this will loosen the grip and will create a big seam. So a lot of things will just crash and break. So make sure that everything is to the right of the knuckle and not to the left-hand side of the knuckle. Otherwise, the weight itself will push down on the grip and loosen it, which is not a pretty sight. I've seen that happen before. Okay, and also when using the boom arm, make sure that the arm is extended over the tall leg. And also on the tall leg of the C-stand, you want to mount your sandbags. You ideally want to use a variety of sandbags. They need to be suspended over the leg, so the sandbags can't touch the floor, because that may hinder with the stability. So make sure the sandbags are on the tallest leg. You can add a couple to the short legs as well, but the majority of the weight needs to be on the tall leg. If it happens vice versa, then it may create a bit of a tipping point. Now, just some things that you can use with your sandbags. With your light stand, sandbags being one. So we sell these in a variety of different options. These are great with the yellow band, so it just creates extra visibility as far as sandbags are concerned. And you can use any rubble or sand out of your garden or on location for these. So these are sold typically empty, so sand not included with the sandbag, but these you can use, or ideally need to use with your light stands. Extra options, that would be caster wheels. So these known as caster wheels, these you can attach to the bottom of your light stand. So in studio, you can just roll your light stand about just for easy maneuverability. All right, so those would be the light stands, broadly speaking. So just a couple of things, important things to look out for. Just going to get my head back. So it was a very short presentation this time around. So yeah, just a couple of specifications and features to look out for when buying light stands. So just to reiterate a couple of points. So load capacity, you need to check that in the product descriptions. Don't push the limits to your light stand. So if the load capacity is something like 5 kilograms, don't do 5 kilograms. Typically do 4 kilograms or less. Otherwise, that may create stress points on the joints itself. Same thing with the maximum length of your light stand. So if it's 2.4 stands, ideally don't use it at 2.4. You want to just play within smaller margins instead. So you don't want to create, again, stress points on the light stand. So a couple of good things to bear in mind is the light stand air cushion or spring cushion or not cushion whatsoever. So as I said, if you let go of the light stand accidentally, all of that will collapse within itself and create damage either to the light or to you, the user. So you just want to make sure that it has some cushion to it, just to suck up the excess impact. Okay, so adjustable height. Obviously, you want a light stand that can do a nice maximum height and a low minimum height. But again, compromise may be necessary both ways. So a good option would be to have a robust stand on one and a compact light stand on the other. So 2 light stands necessary for whatever job. Okay, so I don't know if that covered at least some of your interests or curiosities. I don't know if you have any other questions to ask regarding light stands. Okay, so this is 20 minutes in this time. Yeah, so nice and quick this occasion. Okay, someone's saying hi, champ. All right, so just bear in mind if you are commenting on a Facebook group, be it our SA Amateurs group or the Godox group, I can't see your name. So if you're doing this on the Camera Stuff page or on YouTube, but I can see your name, but if you're on a Facebook group, I can't see your name for some privacy reasons. All right, Clint, silly question. Would the caster wheels work on heavy-duty C-stands? Unfortunately, not the ones we sell, but we are getting in from newer. So compatible wheels for the C-stands we are getting in. So if you're interested in buying wheels, just check with us to see if it's compatible or not. Typically, the ones that we do sell are for the spreader stands, but we are getting in wheels for the C-stands as well. Yeah, those should arrive, I think, in a month's time or so. Okay, what about the Hala brand? If you have their Hala C-stand, they mostly have the same size feet in a manner of speaking. So the wheels that we sell don't fit any C-stand feet. So we are getting those specific wheels in for C-stand specifically quite soon. Okay, here's a question. Hello, Godox. Okay, both are great. So something to be mentioned is that both Hilo and Godox have detachable feet, whereas the newer does not have detachable feet. So with the detachable feet, that's called the turtle base, and it's nice to have this folding thing separate from the center column itself. It's just easier for travel and storage as well. So it's nice to have a C-stand with detachable feet. So that would be both the Hilo and the Godox. Hilo, I would say, is just a little bit more robust than the Godox one. So if you had to see the two side by side, you can see that the Hilo one is just a little bit beefier, has an extra load capacity to it as well, and a bit an extra height too. So the Hilo across most dimensions is just a little bit better, but the Godox in itself is very good in itself. So it just depends if you have that extra, I think, about 400 Rand to spend on a Hilo. But yeah, just to answer your question, the Hilo one is just a little bit better across most dimensions. Okay, I'm going to give it an extra minute or so. So unless you guys have any other questions to ask, I'm going to call it quits from my end. Okay, so just an extra minute or so. Okay, if you're curious to know as to what the next live is going to be, it's going to be soft boxes. So I'm not going to chat about the broad range of different lighting shapers as of yet. I'm going to split it up into their own live videos. So first light shaper is going to be for softbox. So specifically, I'm going to tackle a couple of Godox folding softboxes. So I'll speak about softboxes in general. So if you're keen to know about softboxes and how to assemble them, how to use them, etc., do check out next week. So next week it should be scheduled. Okay, so I think that's it from my end. So thank you for joining this live. Hope you learned something. As I said, it was just a broad explanation of Lightstand, or some smaller details here and there. If you have any other questions to ask or want to know anything extra about Lightstands, we at Camera Stuff, we are available on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on email, on telephone. You can come to the shop and look at the equipment that you sell as well. So we're always happy to help. So that's it from my end. Conrad, on behalf of Camera Stuff, hope you have a pleasant night further. That's bye-bye from me. So cheerios.